Welcome to Salcedo Paranormal. It is Sunday. Um, let's see here, February 12th, 2023. And today I am sharing true paranormal stories from the web. Did that 2 days ago as well. um, as always, you can find all the episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page. And that is salcedoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions, or if you have stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. So I have 2 stories for today, and the plan for the rest of the week basically is, as it always is, every other day. I either do true paranormal stories from the web or paranormal news. And then once a week, usually it'll be on Wednesday nights, Thursday mornings. It will be a topic-based episode, either a review or a roundtable in some cases. And that's the way the schedule is basically set up. Of course, that can always change as needed, but that's what seems to work overall. So that's what I go with. So yeah, thank you all for being here to listen. I see you all there, and let me get to the stories here, and I will start. As always, I have 2 stories to share today. Okay, all right. So this first one says, so my family likes going to cook-offs and visiting members, family members, hours away. My grandmother was driving while Mimi, I'm wondering if they mean his great grandmother was driving while my Mimi, it says, am I, was in the passenger seat with me in the back. We were driving to my cousin's, who live 7 hours away. And one thing to note here is that they live somewhere kind of rural. It takes a lot of empty space when you drive closer to the small town they live in. Well, as we were driving closer, I noticed that something was off. I normally don't look outside of the truck, but when I did, this time around, I noticed a figure. Excuse me. The figure looked human, but it wasn't. I was sure it wasn't human. It had white eyes and wasn't moving. It was taller than a human. Than an average man, sorry. And as I looked at it, it looked back and then vanished. I didn't say anything at the time, but I swear that was a monster. And that's where the story ends. So that leaves a lot of questions there. I'm wondering if they had a regular appearance other than the height and the white eyes. That is quite the sighting, and it obviously wasn't a regular person since it vanished. So that's quite the sighting. I don't know if it was a monster. That's kind of a, but I mean, it does seem like it wasn't a regular person, whatever it was. So, yeah, I don't know what they saw, but seems like something different. And we hear about that once in a while, these different colored eyes and different beings, whatever they are, different entities. A lot of times, sometimes it's red, other times it's like a black-eyed creature, and then once in a while you hear this stories like this where the eyes are just white. So, quite the sighting there. And I think it's important to note there that they had this odd feeling right before they saw this thing, whatever it was. So, sounds like it was in the middle of nowhere. And, yeah, I don't know what they saw, but that's a good story. It's makes you wonder what was going on there, what that was. Doesn't seem to be enough there to go on to know exactly how to classify that even outside of just the white eyes. So, but I mean, if you're going down the road, they may not have gotten much else of a look at it other than just the fact that it had white eyes. Um, so yeah, quite the sighting there. So that's the first story. Um, so let me go on to the second one here. And this one says, I was sitting in my room and heard a huge noise in the air outside. Initially, I thought it was just a plane, so I didn't take my phone with me when I went to check it out through my window. And what I saw blew my mind. It was this massive craft, and upon hearing it more closely, the sound was five times more than what an average airplane makes in the sky. It was traveling way quicker than most airplanes I've seen. And the most weird thing of all was it had these huge red and yellow lights emitting from it. I only saw a few seconds of it before it flew away. If I went to get my phone, which I left on the other side of the room, to record it, then it would have been gone by then anyway. So I figured that I would just let myself see it with my own eyes instead of risking losing it by the time I came back with my phone. Pretty crazy seeing this after today's announcement in Alaska, and they're referring to that um, unidentified object that was shot down near outside of Alaska the other day. And it says this happened in New Zealand, by the way. So I always wonder when there's all this stuff going on in the news. I always wonder how many unreported sightings there are, or at least unreported in the larger sense, not to any news organization or whatever else, but just put on websites, different websites that take experiences like this. Um, I wonder if there's a connection there or not. So, but yeah, it was a balloon. Uh, Apoc says there, and then Mystic Book always. Yeah, yep. So, um, but yeah, so neat sighting there as well. I don't know. Um, the thing with craft nowadays is I feel like technology is getting better and better. So unless there's some kind of a feeling that goes with it, as like a sense of a presence, um or it's just light, or it seems to be made of light, or you actually see other creatures in or near it, it's hard to know that it isn't some kind of craft made by people from somewhere, who knows where. But still, I think it's important to keep track of these things anyway. Um, but I do think there are definitely all kinds of things that happen out there from the craft that people make, whether it's a government or military or a private corporation, to obviously, I do think there's unknown, unexplained stuff out there as well that is not made by people. So, um, as I always say, I believe more in or. I mean, not and more than or. I think all these things are possible. So, but and I was glad today that the stories I found, they were not your usual sort of haunting story. That's just a kind of a joke, um, referring back to a conversation in Discord earlier today. So earlier tonight. So I was glad that I found a couple of different kinds of experiences here. So but that takes care of that. That's all I had for today. Um, thank you all for listening and for being here. I may look um into this set of current events more as things maybe eventually slow down. We start getting more information rather than just reactions to these events as they're happening, but we'll see. I kind of like to steer away from the government angle just because I think so much of that between the government and the media, so much of that is you never know what kind of what they're saying, so or what they're trying to spin or how they're trying to spin it. So, but still, it's definitely been interesting to watch all the coverage of everything. So we may see some of that in tomorrow's news show, depending on what articles pop up. So we'll see. But yeah, thank you all for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow to cover paranormal news on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care, everyone.